TV.
Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. So, with all those snowstorms that we had last week, have you been able to dig yourself out? Has your car been able to leave the driveway? How are your backs doing? My guess is the massage therapists and the chiropractors, they are probably booked solid right now. Anyways, I hope you're doing okay. And hey, we're Canadians. We've got this. And you know what I've been thinking with all this cold weather that we've been having? Maybe this coming spring we won't have ticks. Fingers are crossed. We can deal with this cold weather. So we got a great show. We're first going to be talking to a representative from CAA. Things that you should have in your car, ways to stay safe with these crazy driving conditions that we've been having. Also, we'll be talking to Kids Health Phone. What are some signs that you should be looking for to see if your kid's mental health might need some assistance? And last but not least, Ron McLean. We'll be talking to him. Hockey Day in Canada. You want to make sure that you keep on watching. It's going to be an absolutely fabulous show. So we'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
The Canadian film and TV industry recognizes it's time to build a better workforce, which includes more opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. HireBIPOC.com is here to help make this happen. Whether you're already in the business, trying to get a start, or in a position to hire, HireBIPOC.com could connect you to the right people. From script to development, production to post, distribution to marketing. Check out HireBIPOC.com now and help build a stronger industry together.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So now with me on the show is Nadia Matos, who is from CAA from South Central Ontario. And Nadia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for having us on the show.
Well, it is definitely good timing to have you on. We've been having quite some winter weather, and there's been a lot of cars in the ditches, people having some driving issues in this type of weather. So I thought we could talk to you about how to stay safe in this winter weather. So first of all, should our driving behavior change during when there's snow and ice, and whether it's snow is coming down or it's just on the road? How should our driving behavior change?
Absolutely. I mean, whether it's rain, slow, sleet, any kind of weather condition, you should stop and think to yourself, I need to drive according to weather conditions. And we see a lot of people out there not doing that. And that's when you get into certain predicaments. Really, it's about, Jackie, slowing down and driving to those weather conditions.
Yeah, I have seen these big trucks with these massive tires just thinking that they still own the road when the weather is crazy out. And then I'll also see those big trucks in the ditches too. So maybe size really doesn't matter when it comes to winter driving weather.
Well, whether you're big or you're small, it's really important to know that, we're all in this together. your big truck on the road is, the little car on the road, they're driving down the 401 or whatever corridor you're going onto at the same time. And so why not be courteous to your fellow Canadian, your fellow human being? Slow down. Know that not everybody feels 100% comfortable driving in the inclement weather. And there's a lot more things to consider. And so that's put your cell phone away. Make sure you're not distracted. Drive according to weather conditions and be courteous. If you see someone trying to go into your lane, why not give them the space? Everybody's in a hurry, but give them the space to merge properly and safely. So distance, Jackie, is also a big tip that we give drivers.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love it. Such great advice. We need to get this video out there. We need to make sure everyone hears that. So we also want to be prepared. So what should we have in an emergency kit within our car?
We recommend that you start with the basics, and that is, do you have water? Do you have a phone charger? You don't want to go out into a vehicle, driving long distances without ensuring that your phone is fully charged. Does your emergency kit have things like a blanket, candle, some non-perishable foods? Then you start to kind of branch out into more of the technical stuff. Do I have perhaps some flares in my emergency kit, or some kitty litter? Things like that. Even some booster cables in a pinch may help. You really want the emergency kit to be just that, to cover you in an emergency. You never want to be in a situation where you thought, geez, I am so thirsty because I'm stuck on the side of the 401, or someone can't get to me as fast as I thought they would. I would really have loved a blanket. So it's about pre-planning and thinking about the kind of things that you need in an emergency situation, which is not something that we always think about. But it's really just about taking those extra steps ahead. And it could be as easy as you buying a pre-made emergency kit, or you getting in a laundry basket and filling up with things that you already have at home. You may have to add only the jumper cables or some other things that you may have to purchase, but we all have blankets at home. We all have non-perishables. We have water. We can make sure that our cell phones are charged. And those are going to be key, crucial tips in an emergency.
Thank you so much. Now, when you said non-perishable foods, my mind went, I'm going to stock some cans in my car. But now I thought, okay, so maybe some protein bars, maybe,
Exactly.
Granola bars, things like that, just in case you're stranded for a while.
Exactly. Some granola bars. And those are just for emergencies, Jackie, just for emergencies, because I know we all tend to dip into emergency supplies every once in a while, but just making sure that we do have those protein granola bars there, just in case something happens.
Okay, so if we do get stranded, what are some strategies we should take in order to keep safe at the side of the road or in the ditch, whatever?
There are a few key things that we stress at CAA. First of all, if your car breaks down and if it's possible, pull off the road as much as possible. Sometimes we get a little bit of a heads up, like something's chugging along and it's not really working. Your number one priority is to pull off the road. The next thing you can do when you're safely off to the side is to make your vehicle as visible as possible. So put on your hazard lights. If you need to as well, and if it's possible, depending on the weather, pop your trunk so that you want to make your car as visible as possible. Then you want to note your vehicle's location as much as possible. So when you're calling 911, if you're in an unsafe situation, or when you're calling CAA or another roadside provider, you want to give them as many details as possible. And the next thing is assessing your vehicle's operating system. So what possibly could have been going wrong with your vehicle? Is it a flat tire? Is it a mechanical issue? Is it an engine thing? We're not all mechanics, but if you can give it your best guess, it's going to give the people who are responding a little bit more information so that you can get the appropriate people there. And again, we want to stress is that if you feel that you're unsafe, call 911. Don't wait around. Don't deliberate. Don't ask if I should call my mom or this. Call 911. It is a life-saving tip at times.
Nadia, thank you so much. Amazing tips there. I really appreciate it. Let's help to push this information out there so we can all stay safe on the roads. Thank you, Nadia. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
It's so convenient to grab a carton of milk. It took over 60 years to get to this point. It sounds odd, but if you didn't have a cow in the early 1900s, you'd rely on a family farm. The Weary family farm was one of the contributors to the production and distribution of our favorite cookie companion via scoop and pail or by bottle. Then, in the 1930s, with the demand for pasteurized milk, the Weary family partnered with 10 local farmers, raising the funds required for pasteurization technology. Ideal Dairy, the building still standing, became one of the fastest growing dairy distributors and eventually the largest and only dairy in Oshawa. In time, it was sold to Beatrice, a brand we still fill our glasses with today.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So I'm with Kara Chen from Kids Help Phone. She is the manager of community crisis responders. Kara, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I understand that your services, the need to use your services has gone up. First of all, with the start of the pandemic, but more so through the fourth wave. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give a little bit of background, Kids Help Phone is Canada's only 24/7 e-mental health service for young people in both English and French. So even before the pandemic, we were a well-known resource for young people to come to us if they ever needed support or wanted to ask a question or just wanted to share what's on their mind. And specifically, during the beginning of the pandemic, specifically 9.5 million young people have reached out for support, but there are a total of 8.2 million youth in Canada, and we want to make sure that every single one of them knows that we are available, we're free, we're 24/7, and that we are always going to be here for them in their corner whenever they need us. And like you said, specifically over the fourth wave of the pandemics, starting in November 2021, we noticed an increase of about 125% in our interactions to our texting service, specifically around issues of suicide, depression, isolation, relationships, and anxiety and stress in general. And, with people's changes in their routine and various difficulties with school and people at home, that's very, very fair and understandable. And the thing that really strikes me as so important is, those numbers are going up, but it also means that young people are feeling more and more comfortable, and it's feeling less stigmatized for them to reach out for that support. So those higher numbers to me indicate, yes, young people who are feeling more stressed out and feeling like they need that support, but it's also good news to me that they're feeling safe to reach out to a resource like Kids Help Phone for that kind of help.
So when a child calls a Kids Help Phone, no matter what issue that they're having, what type of resources are you providing to them? What type of support are you giving them?
Mm-hmm. And we have so many different types of support that we can provide. So it depends on what exactly the young person needs or wants, or the way that they prefer to communicate. So if they were to call into our 1-800 number, they would be connected to one of our professional counselors, and they would have a single session phone call where they would talk through whatever it is that they needed to talk about. We would come up with some strategies or plans for what they could do after the call to bring themselves to a cooler calm. They can reach out to other resources in their local communities, go to another trusted adult in their school or in their family, and really just be that safe space that allows them to share whatever is on their mind in a really unbiased and nuanced way that they might not be able to feel comfortable doing that with their family or with their school, especially if there's something that feels particularly vulnerable to them. And on the other side, for the texting service, if they were to text in to 686868 using the word talk, they would be connected to one of our volunteer crisis responders, and they would be able to, again, talk through whatever issue that they want, but it's done entirely through text message. So it's a little bit more discreet, and it's a little bit more personal to them because they don't have to speak out loud. They can think about what it is they want to say before they type it out. And our volunteer crisis responders, again, are here 24/7, completely bilingual, and they are trained in a lot of crisis intervention techniques and active listening techniques that ensure that the young person is able to share their story in whatever way they feel comfortable.
That's beautiful. What an incredible service. Because I know for me, sometimes we've all been going through our own stuff, right? And sometimes I just need a safe person to be able to talk something out to, and maybe a shoulder to cry on, and that allow those emotions to flow, and it helps to sort things out. So those numbers are staggering. And what are some of the warning signs that parents should be looking out for so they can give their children the support that they need?
Absolutely. And, that's the amazing thing about our service is that there are trusted adults out there in the schools, in the communities, in the homes that are keeping an eye on the young people and making sure that, whatever's happening maybe with classes or whatever's happening with friends, we have a better eye on kind of how they're doing because we're all kind of in the same space. So one of the things that we always want to make sure to let adults or parents or caregivers know that if they're noticing any differences, major mood changes in their kid, you're noticing lower marks or grades or engagement with their school classes, they're avoiding friends or family, they are enjoying things that they used to enjoy significantly less. They've got changes to their eating or sleeping habits, and they're worrying a lot about school, about friends, about COVID. Those are really the signs for you to reach out and be open about how you're feeling maybe too, and kind of get that dialogue going. And whatever it is they might be going through, also letting them know that a resource like Kids Help Phone exists and is there for them.
And so what are some of the other things that so if parents are noticing those signs, what are some things that they can do? We only have about a minute left, but how can they immediately support their child?
Definitely. So yeah, again, have that open, honest conversation. You can also visit our Kids Help Phone Gateway, which is our website. There are a number of articles on there that you could read together. There are a number of quizzes and games that you can explore together. And of course, if you want to text in or phone in to Kids Help Phone together, you are more than welcome to. We always love to have kind of a group discussion about the wellness of that young person.
That's wonderful. And what I love is that you also have a helpline for adults, well, at least to text in. So adults can text the word wellness to 741-741 if they need support. And then again, youth can text talk to 686868. And the number to call is 1-800-668-6868. Okay. Thank you so much, Kara. It's wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
When you're online, Rogers TV on YouTube shares news and events from your community, like messages from local leaders, updates on the latest health news, local business presenting their new offerings, and how our local communities are working their way through these unprecedented times. Visit and subscribe to Rogers TV on YouTube for the latest local information.
Welcome back back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I am so excited about our next special guest, Ron McLean. You probably, I don't know if you've been under a rock if you don't know who Ron McLean is. Maybe you know about Hockey Night in Canada. Well, today we're talking about Hockey Day in Canada. So, Ron, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Jackie, and a personal friend of Doug's, and he's got the photo to prove it. So
yeah,
that's who I am.
Yeah, he showed me the photo. I love it. Okay, quick, Doug, take a pic. I got Ron McLean here. So, Ron, we want to talk about Hockey Day in Canada. I understand the date has been postponed. So can you tell us a little bit about that postponement and so what it's going to look like now?
Well, it's more the venue as opposed to the date, Jackie, because we were to go to Owen Sound, as I was saying to you off air. We're going to do that next year. It's moved to 2022. We'll do this year, or 23. This year, we're going to be in Scarborough on a nice outdoor patch of ice. And the deputy mayor, Michael Thompson's been really great, and the police in Scarborough to find a way for us to do the show. It's so difficult, obviously, in the midst of the pandemic, but we have all the Canadian teams playing, not necessarily all Canadian matchups, but a great day of grassroots storytelling ahead with a theme of all in. Hockey for All is Scotiabank's new initiative, and we'll really focus on, in Scarborough, it's great because 73% of the population are visible minorities, and there's just an incredible hockey history, a treasure trove of stories to tell there.
I love it. I just feel even more excitement to know it's just around the corner.
Yeah, you can come.
Scarborough's nice and close. I love it. So let's go over those games. Let's go over those different games. So how about Anaheim and Ottawa? What do you expect?
Well, DJ Smith, he's a Memorial Cup champion with the Oshawa Generals, and just think the world of DJ. And they have such a great young team. Drake Batherson, Josh Norris, Thomas Shabbat. They're talented, and they're playing against a young, talented Ducks team. And I love their coach, too. Dallas Aikens really embodies the spirit of Scotiabank Hockey Day. He's always been great doing initiatives with Andrew Ferentz for the National Hockey League, helped them create their declaration of principles. So great coaching matchup, great game to start the show off. And then we move right into St. Louis, where I did my first ever playoff game. Again, we were talking off air, but vivid memories of Wendell Clark and Dougie Gilmore and the Leafs going down to St. Louis. And we have the Jets playing the Blues, and that's our second game. So 2 matinees, and then we kind of move into prime time. And that one, I'll just mention Toronto, Detroit was part of that same first year for me in the playoffs was 1987. And a couple of years I worked in Calgary doing the NHL and never did a playoff game. And the first time I did one was actually in St. Louis. And I'll never forget, did my opening for Hockey Night in Canada, was nervous as all get out. They dropped the puck, and within a second, 2 defensemen are smashed up against the glass. And I thought, wow, they're going to be doing this for 9 weeks. And that's when I learned about playoff intensity. But we have Toronto, Detroit, great Great Lakes rivalry. We have Edmonton and Montreal. That's in the 7:00 Eastern time slot. And in that case, it's McDavid, Draisaitl. You know the story in Montreal. They've had to make a managerial shakeup. All of it because Shea Weber, Carey Price, too many missing ingredients for the Habs. But Oilers are trying to right the ship, and I think they will. And then we close with another all-Canadian matchup, Vancouver and Calgary. And for me, the storyline there is the amazing Daryl Sutter. I grew up, Jackie, as a young boy in central Alberta. Daryl Sutter played for the Red Deer Rustlers, our hometown team. And we all thought he was old school, can't coach in the modern era. And he went down to LA and won 2 Stanley Cups, and he's taken over Calgary, and he's doing it again. Just amazing.
Nice. That's exciting. Okay, what about, so we already spoke about Calgary, we spoke about Detroit. Did we talk about Montreal yet?
I'm spoiling the interview by answering the whole lineup with a chance to ask me about it. Well, yeah, Montreal, here's what I would say about Montreal, and I'm glad the game is there. If you were to, I grew up as a Leaf fan, but when I got to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, it was a bit of a letdown. The rink was dirty. It got spiffed up a little bit later on in the 1990s. Cliff Fletcher was the GM, and some new ownership took care of the building. But Montreal's the shrine. And I know it's a new rink. It's not the old Montreal Forum. But when you go into it, I don't know if you've had the chance, but when you go into Montreal on a Saturday, that absolutely is what hockey should feel like. It's in every grocery store, every bistro. It just reeks hockey, and that'll be a nice setting for. It's funny, I think of Craig Simpson's on our broadcasts. He went in with the Oilers back in the day. Kevin Lowe would treat the guys to ice cream that his mom made, and they would play those Habs, with Guy Lafleur, and think, can we match up to them? And if we can, we're on our way. And they did. So that Edmonton Montreal has kind of a magical ring to it, particularly for my colleague Craig Simpson.
Now, when you're talking about Montreal and a bistro reeking of hockey, I'm thinking a hockey bag, and that is not necessarily a good match.
Right.
But I do want to go to a Montreal game.
Yeah. They're the fans there are half in the bag. It's a different thing. Yeah. Having a good time.
All right. So people will notice that Canadian teams are actually playing some teams from the States, right? And normally Hockey Day in Canada is about all Canadian teams. But before we started this interview, you were talking about how we have a lot of Canadians that are actually playing on those teams. So are there a lot of Canadians on St. Louis and Detroit?
Absolutely. In fact, when St. Louis won the Stanley Cup, they did it with a Saskatchewan trifecta. So the Shens, they're really well represented. Tyler Bozak and Braden Shen, and they've lost Jaden Schwartz is now playing for the Seattle expansion team. But there's just a real Canadian element to St. Louis. They actually were built around the Montreal Canadiens model. Cliff Fletcher, I mentioned, he was a GM in Toronto and still is involved with the Leafs a little bit. But he went over, Scotty Bowman went over, they brought in Doug Harvey and Dickie Moore and all these iconic Montreal Canadiens legends to kind of create the St. Louis franchise. So you get a full blast of Canadiana, even with the American teams.
Nice. Love it. Oh, Ron, it was so great to have you on the show. I'd love to have you on again sometime. Yes.
I would love that too, Jackie. Yeah, anytime. And come by. As I said, we're supposed to keep the crowds to a bare minimum, but if you're 20 minutes away into Scarborough, come and see us.
All right. Love it. Thank you so much, Ron. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Are you a woman experiencing abuse? Do you know a woman experiencing abuse? Help is available any time of day or night. Sheltersafe.ca is an online map that helps you find a women's shelter or transition house that meets your needs so you can live a life free from violence. Sheltersafe.ca. Help is just a click away.
Hi, I'm Angel Morgan, host of Raising Energy. Join me weekly as I connect to spirits, animals, and so much more. That's right, Raising Energy, right here only on Rogers TV.
Think it's too late to become more fit? Think again. I'm personal trainer Karen Ross, and my mission is to help you take control and find your way back to health and wellness. Tune in to A Little Bit Fit with me, Karen Ross, here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So make sure you get those car safety kits ready. Get those granola bars, those protein bars. Don't eat them, just if you need to. And your warm blankets and all that. Also, the kids' health phone. I'm going to remind you of that number. So make sure your kids have this number accessible so they can text the word TALK to 686868. So that is texting the word TALK to 686868. The phone number to call is 1-800-668-6868. And Hockey Night in Canada, or Hockey Day in Canada, I should say, is happening on January the 29th, and it's in Scarborough. And it's what a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate hockey, right? We're Canadians. We're all about the hockey. Instead of all about the booze, it's all about the hockey, But okay, so it's the January 29th. We'll be back next week with more on Uxbridge Scugog Live.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
You must be the reporter. Come with me.
So, Miss McGill, how does it feel being Canada's famous women engineer?
The real story is the work we've done retooling this factory.
To build the Hawker Hurricane?
Indeed. 40 planes last month with a capacity of up to 100. Our fighters are over England as we speak. Of course, it pains me to see airplanes mass-produced like boxcars or baby carriages. But in war, we make concessions in favor of innovation.
You must feel at home, though, managing all of these women.
I'm not here to manage women.
Well, you must admit it is an unusual